Hello and welcome to Warp Factor Unknown, the podcast where we delve into the world of Star Trek for an unpredictable rewatch and discussion. I'm your host Dan, and joining me today is Tom, who just got himself a fresh cup of Ractigino.
Fantastic to be here as usual.
Excellent. And today we are discussing Star Trek Strange New Worlds episode, Strange New Worlds. It's from Season 1, Episode 1. Yeah, before we get into our conversation proper, we're going to have a recap from Tom.
The episode begins with Captain Christopher Pike on a self-imposed hiatus in Montana, still grappling with a traumatic vision of his future death, seen in Star Trek Discovery. However, he's pulled back into action when Admiral Robert April informs him that his first officer, Una Chin Riley, Number 1, has gone missing during a mission on the planet Kylie 279. Pike reluctantly returns to the Enterprise and assumes command once again. Pike informs Pike informs Spock of their new mission. Spock, who is currently on Vulcan, has just gotten engaged to T'Pring. On board, Pike reunites with his bridge crew, including Chief Medical Officer Dr. Mbenga, Nurse Chapel, Uhura, and Lan Noonien Singh, the ship's new Chief of Security Officer and temporary First Officer. Pike and the crew set course for Kylie 279 to find Number 1 and the 2 other missing officers. Upon arriving, they discover that the Kylie have developed warp technology, not for exploration, but as a weapon after observing a powerful explosion in space, the battle from Discovery Season 2. Pike, Spock and Lan beam down to the planet disguised as locals. They infiltrate a high-security facility and locate Number 1 and the others, who are being held captive. Pike learns that the planet is on the brink of civil war, with factions planning to use their newly developed weapons. He decides to intervene, delivering a powerful message to the Kylie leaders about the dangers of using warp technology for destructive purposes. After a tense standoff, Pike reveals the consequences of such a path by showing them Earth's own troubled history, which eventually led to the formation of the United Federation of Planets. The mission is successful, and Pike reaffirms his commitment to the Enterprise, deciding to face his future with a new sense of purpose.
Fantastic, thank you very much. Yeah, quite a lot going on there. Okay, right, cool. I like this episode. I like Strange New Worlds. I think it's really cool. What was your first impression of this? Because we saw Pike and Spock in the Discovery we watched. Was that last time or the time before? Recently.
Yeah, a couple of episodes ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked it. I like the format of this probably better than most other modern Treks I've seen, just because it reminds me more of at least I get the impression it's going to be more of an adventure-y, exploring style Trek, which is my jam.
And I think I've said before about this, is it's episodic. It has an overarching story, like we have, Pike dealing with his command issues and all the rest, and there are ongoing elements, but for the most part it is monster of the week kind of TV, which I'm a big fan of.
Me too.
Yeah, and I personally I like it out of the newer Treks because it's so colourful. They have really bright, vibrant uniforms.
Yeah,
I think Discovery was a little bit drab in some of their uniform choices and design things.
I think the series as a whole is the colour palette is a lot more dark, isn't it, in Discovery?
And all the stories and the vibes are always it's always like the end of the galaxy. Oh my god, everyone's going to die. It's just like a tonal thing.
Yeah,
I like it.
I think tonally, this reminds me more of TNG, whereas Discovery reminds me more of DS9. That's sort of how I think about it.
That's a good parallel. Yeah, no, I never quite clocked that. Yeah. I think DS9's better than Discovery, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I really like Discovery. I'm a big fan, actually. The intro, the opening of this episode, it starts on this alien planet Kylie when the USS Archer, good name for a ship. I'm glad Archer's getting some ships in after him.
Yeah.
It's like first contact from their perspective. It's like E.T. showing up, and because it's almost like a bit of a fake out, it kind of looks a bit like modern day Earth. It's like what would happen if aliens arrived now, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. I kind of liked it, seeing that first contact from the other
from
side.
from their point of view. Yeah, definitely.
But it did remind me, it brought me back to, do you remember the very short treks we did a little while ago?
Yeah.
And do you remember the one where there was like boogers and
the really gross one.
The gross one, yeah. They'd beamed, like this planet had immediately discovered warp, turned on their warp engine, and then beamed down. Here comes Riker and the crew. Same thing here. They've just turned on their warp device, and immediately shows up Starfleet. Hello, welcome.
Yeah.
And I understand that, like, you know, having a warp drive is a good indicator for they're ready to advance into the wider galactic world. Just turning it on is like first baby step. Doesn't mean they're quite ready to have aliens show up on their door.
No.
Do some undercover coverts.
That's it. You know, some subtle infiltration just to see if they are.
Like with the disgusting
crazy
people, just to see, like, do you want to talk to them? They might be gross. They might, you know, they might microwave fish in the office.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, these are fair points.
Or, like in this case, they might be not ready.
Yeah.
And, you know, not be a good candidate to open first contact with. So I thought it was kind of weird. Like, it's always like a canon thing that, yeah, first contact is the second you discover warp, which I guess also happens in First Contact, the movie. They do the Cochrane does his first warp flight to get the attention of the Vulcans, and they land immediately.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was kind of before First Contact was a thing. Don't worry about it. We're getting into the weeds.
No, that's
now.
true. It does seem maybe they're just skipping a few steps, but it does seem to be very instantaneous.
I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like there should be some more steps involved.
Yeah.
You know, as much as bureaucracy can hold things down, it should probably go via a committee. You know, it's like, hey, we found this warp signature over here. Here's what we know. All in favour of going to say hello? You know, do you know what I mean? It should go. Yeah. There should be.
These people are actually at war with each other, for they have been for centuries. Are they good candidates, do you reckon, to join?
Yeah.
Probably that would
we could do with some soldiers, you know, some cannon fodder. I'm going to talk about Pike, because it kind of like, that conversation kind of starts in the beginning of the episode, and it kind of goes through, so I'll talk about him now. First things first, obviously, when we spoke about him in Discovery, I was saying how he's a silver fox. And he is, like, you know, he's a beautiful man. But when you first see him in this episode, he's got this quite rugged, shaggy beard, and it's like not quite as clean. And you know, he's still good looking, but better clean shaven. I kind of really liked how we've done this. How when we saw him in Discovery, he was like fine. He was on form. He was in control. He was confident. No issues with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, we skipped the episode and the episodes where he had this crisis of faith. So now we've rejoined him just now where that's happened. So we've kind of like, it's quite like night and day. How different he is. Like, you see him on the bridge, and he says himself, like, he's questioning his decisions and his command style. He's struggling to find himself in this new place. And I thought it was great. But just seeing him from one episode, he's amazing, and in this one, he's a bit unsure. I thought it was really cool.
Because you can have it where someone's too perfect and too like, everything, they can never make a mistake or they can never have a negative thought. Or so yeah, you're right. It's good to have that other side of Pike.
It's growth. Like you know, he came into Discovery. He's always like an established character. He has his crisis of faith, and now the transition is going to be in Strange New Worlds, him regaining that confidence and becoming the captain we once knew. Albeit changed. Character growth. It's good storytelling. It's good writing.
Yep.
It is great. And I really like how he plays the whole not being confident, questioning himself. Like that conversation he has with Spock in his quarters. And he's like, I'm not sure if I can do it. I don't know. Yeah. Spock gives I'm going to say a pretty mediocre pep talk, but it does the job. It brings Pike out of it.
But even at the very start, when Pike's like, I don't want it. I absolutely don't want it. So he sort of flat out refuses it almost and gets convinced. And that's good as well, because it's shown how he's turned from being completely against the idea to thinking, no, I can
it was, I mean, so I guess for those who don't know, I guess I could point actually what was this crisis of faith that Pike had. He went to this temple on a Klingon planet, and it showed Pike the vision of his future. And for those who also don't know, have not seen the original series, Pike suffers a horrible accident and he gets really badly injured. he basically gets, I think I described to you before, it's like kind of locked in syndrome. He's in this big wheelchair.
It looked like an iron lung almost.
Like an iron lung.
Yeah.
That's a good analogy actually. Yeah, iron lung. He looks a little bit like who's the leader of the Daleks from Doctor Who? Davros?
I know who you mean.
He's in like a black wheelchair.
Yeah.
And he like moves around. It looks a bit like that.
Yeah.
And all you can do is beep to talk. So he's seen that, and that's going to happen to him in about 10 years. Now, I don't quite know how like timey-wimey stuff is going to work in this, but he saw how it happened. Surely you can change that.
Yeah.
Like, if I knew in 10 years I was going to be in a car accident, after 9 years, stop getting cars.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just like, he could just stop going on spaceships.
Yeah.
I was going to take a year. I'm saving all my annual leave. I'm going to a year in Montana with my horse.
Yes. I'm just going to ride on a horse for that whole year. And stay away from
and like,
fire.
I don't know, like I feel like if you see time, you can, I don't know. Maybe
it depends how set in stone it is. If it's
That's
like
it.
if it can be changed, or if he's like, no, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
No matter what I do.
I guess it must have to happen. Because I guess if it doesn't happen, he doesn't step down as being captain of the Enterprise, and then Kirk doesn't get the command, and without Kirk, there's no one to save the whales and the meat god and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So I guess he kind of has to, I suppose.
You'd probably like ride the horse for a year, and then even I've managed to survive, and then someone would drive past and pull him into the car against his will, and then it'd crash.
Yeah,
so
it'd be like someone
happen.
from the Temporal Prime Directive Police, like those guys. They'd come in like, no, you will get in that wheelchair. That was my main Pike thoughts. I really liked him. I thought you played it really well. Loved it. I like Pike in this iteration of Pike.
He's a very good, sort of cool, calm, collected captain.
Obviously, we see Pike in the original series in the very first pilot episode.
Yes.
Which didn't get released initially.
Is that the cage?
The cage, yes. Yeah. I'm glad we're talking about the cage. Because there's somebody else in the cage. Number one. Una Chin Riley. So in the original series, it's Captain Pike. Number one is Una Chin, and then Mr. Spock. And all the characters are quite different. Number one is I think she's quite like quite stoic and logical sort of thing. She's kind of like the Vulcanish kind of character. And Mr. Spock is actually quite emotive and I think there's a bit where Spock looks at some flowers and has a big grin on his face kind of thing.
Yeah.
But obviously that pilot got rejected by the studio, so they no, do it again, make another one. It's awful. They didn't other characters, and the story. I've heard a few stories about this, about why she didn't get brought back. She's played by Majel Barrett, who is Gene Roddenberry's wife.
Yes.
Also looks like Troy and voices the computer and all the rest of it. Legendary among Star Trek.
Yeah.
But I've heard different stories. One, I heard that the studio didn't like the idea of a woman being so senior on the crew, and they also didn't like the fact that there was an alien on the crew as well. Like Spock is like quite senior, like he's like the main cast. Who was like, you can't have a woman and an alien both front and center. It's one or the other. And so Gene Roddenberry chose Spock.
Yeah.
But then the other story I heard was that the studio just didn't like Majel Barrett as like an actress. They didn't think she was a good actor. Maybe it wasn't studio. So for whatever reason, she wasn't considered like a good actress at the time. So like, no, she has to go. I'm not too sure why. Maybe both those stories are wrong. I'm not sure. But anyway, she was in that episode. Didn't see her again for, I don't know, 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
And now she's back. I love it. I think it's a really cool character to revive. Don't get too much of her in this episode.
No.
But what we see later on in Stranger New Worlds.
It's good that she's for example, like Riker, number one, sort of people person, likes people, likes being surrounded by people, and then this one's actively says in the episode, I don't get on with people, so it's nice to have a introverted sort of.
Actually, that's a good point. Actually, I just clicked now. Pike calls his first officer number one.
Yeah,
and so does Picard.
Yeah.
Does Picard call Riker number one?
Yes.
Yeah. For a second, I thought I was going crazy. I thought, I never made the the jump, obviously, because we only ever saw number one in the cage.
Yeah.
So I'm going to assume that when they were making TNG, the character choice to make Picard call Riker number one was a callback to that.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume. And when watching TNG, I always took that as being like a little, I guess, Picardism, like a little quirk, a little thing he does. You know, like all captains have their own way of saying, go to warp, so engage or hit it or whatever. They all have their own little flair. So I guess like Pike calling number one, just like Picard does, kind of makes it like an established practice that you call your first officer number one.
Yeah.
I kind of preferred it just being like a Picardism.
Yeah. I mean, Picard it suited him very well because he seems like a official sort of guy and
he does
sticks to calling people by their rank.
He does, but then like that's what I mean. Like Picard is very sort of by the numbers kind of captain.
Yeah. But
also, I like how he does have these little bits of personality, little bits get sprinkled in there. Let's not talk about captains or number ones. Let's talk about Vulcan dating.
Yes, Vulcan dating.
Yeah, so Tom, I noticed you're actually wearing mating colours.
Absolutely. I thought it would do well for this episode.
Weirdest thing to say. That is such a weird... What a weird line.
I know.
Like, mating colours. And like, she wasn't. She was just wearing like... It was kind of like quite a muted blue, like a kind of like a grey. It wasn't like an extravagant, like, just peacock kind of...
Just as a line. Can you imagine sitting down for a date or even with someone you know well and being like, so you're wearing mating colours?
You're like, oh shit, this is what I'm wearing.
You'd be like, no, this is just normal,
all the time.
Yeah.
Or like, oh no, I just came from somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I did think that line was a bit.
Them getting engaged is very formal. Like,
yes.
They're having fun with it. You can see little smirks and things. They're having fun with it, but it's also a very formal occasion they're doing. I don't know like how much Star Trek Vulcan lore you know, and I don't think I know that much. I say I don't know that much, but watch me dump on you right now. I thought that Spock and Pring's marriage was pre-arranged, and I thought Vulcans had arranged marriages.
Yeah.
So why is she asking him to get married?
And also he was uncertain if she was
going
to ask.
Yeah.
And if it was pre-arranged, you'd be like, no, this is logical. She would.
Yeah, and you would assume if it is a society where arranged marriages happen, you would assume the parties involved, they probably don't get much say in it. It's probably like parents are saying, yeah, you're going to get married next June. Do you know what I mean? Like, and they make all the decisions for the couple.
Yeah.
So I thought it's kind of odd that I'm pretty sure Vulcans have arranged marriages, but also they have to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of weird. I don't know.
Also, the restaurant, you'd think they'd understand this is a potential marriage proposal coming up here. Let's just let them have a bit of fun and not kick them out. But as soon as they go to kiss,
yeah,
just can't do this sort of thing here. Yeah, get a room.
Yeah.
I
kind of like that. I like the idea because obviously she'd just given Spock the engagement necklace, which I quite like. There was a necklace, not a ring. I kind of like how it's different. But obviously, I assume the waiter was standing over the back and he'd seen that, and he'd probably seen the mating colours and fucking watching you. And the second they come and he like scurried over. Yeah, he's like, right, get out.
Yeah,
a job's worth, as it were.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
I'm not getting any Vulcan action. You're not. Yeah.
Oh man, that's really funny. Speaking of Vulcan action, okay. I'm going to give you a choice.
Yes.
Work or sex?
Absolutely. Most people who are not Spock would go sex.
Obviously.
Because duty is, while important, sex is...
Sex.
Would take the priority.
Yeah.
For most people.
They just got engaged. They were in bed.
Yes.
And the phone rings. And he doesn't even know it's Pike. It could be anyone. It could be his, it could be his gas company. It could be anyone. It could be a spam call. It could be nothing.
It could be, yeah.
And, I don't know.
But yeah, it's not even. He's like, I must go now.
Yeah.
But they were just.
Yeah, and she was like, are you sure you want to do that? Is this the correct decision? It was a fun scene. It was quite fun to see her then get a bit like... she calls him out on it. And she calls Pike out on it as well. Like, I kind of liked it. It was a fun scene. But
I think she was expecting a big query. She said, didn't she? You should have queried me on this.
Yeah, before running off back to the starship, you should have asked.
Yeah, which is fair enough, because he's like to Spock, to Pike.
Oh, Pike.
He's like, well, yes, she'll be fine with this.
Yeah.
While she's there.
Yeah.
You're like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. Okay, so when Pike is in the shuttle going to the Enterprise, I'm pretty sure I think it's an ensign or whoever's piloting goes, this is shuttle Stamets to Enterprise, permission to approach or whatever. Stamets? The engineer from Discovery?
Yeah.
I didn't realise he was renowned enough to get a shuttle named after him. I mean, in my mind, you get things named after you, like bridges and ships and things, like when you're dead. You know what I mean? That makes sense?
Yeah, well, that Picard maneuver.
Well, that I guess kind of different, because that's like a thing that he did.
I suppose.
Unless Stamets built that thing.
As he did the shuttle. And
then
yeah.
I don't know. I felt kind of weird. I mean, maybe it's not. Maybe she didn't say Stamets. I'm pretty sure she did.
Yeah, I heard Stamets. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, because I know you've not seen Season 5 Discovery.
No.
But one of the character things that is happening with Stamets is he's sort of lamenting the fact that he'll never make like a big enough impact in his life, like worthy of like long remembrance sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like you never sort of like Cochrane invented the warp drive sort of thing. He's not going to have that because they decide they're going to phase out the spore drive thing. Anyway, so he's like lamenting that. I'm like, well, you got a shuttle named after you.
Yeah,
that's more than most.
Yeah.
I don't see a shuttlecraft Dan floating about. Where's mine? Oh. Yeah.
No, true. Be happy with what you got.
When they first get to the planet, the Kylie planet, and they see the US Archer, and they're trying to figure out what's going on. There's no subspace traffic, and we're like, this is really weird. What's going on? And they are Noon Singh, who's the acting number one. She's like, we should raise shields, and Spock is like, no, it's against protocol. And they have a little debate, and Pike's like in between. Oh, loved it. What a great scene. Everyone's bouncing off each other.
Yeah.
Really good points. And then, they fired some crappy missiles. And it was great. I loved it. I thought, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a bit of conflict resolution in these episodes.
But it was good. It's good kind of, I thought Star Trek does really well. Like, you have these little conflicts like that. But then there's no hard feelings.
Yeah.
Everyone's, chill afterwards. I'm like, well done. Good job.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Love it.
I guess they're so up on the rules. They're like, no, this is how it's done, and then there's these little loophole rules that get brought up. They're like,
maybe.
I don't know. It's just it's interesting.
Yeah, I also in that same kind of bit after they sort of figure out what's happened, and what has happened is there's alien races. Basically, they discovered warp, but not a warp engine. They discovered a warp bomb.
Yeah, they said warp bomb, didn't they?
Yeah, warp bomb.
Was it actually explained how the warp bomb worked?
No, I'm assuming it's AKA a nuclear bomb.
Yeah.
That's my assumption. It's basically like that. We've seen Star Trek explode before, and we've seen warp cores explode before. Just a big bang, really.
Yeah.
So one would assume warp bomb is the same.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, I think it's weird that this is the first time ever that someone has discovered this warp technology, and this is the first time someone's gone explosion.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty, from a human perspective, that's the first thing you think of, isn't it?
Yeah.
It goes boom.
And in all the other thousands of warp-capable species, some of the other ones must have been at war and have thought, yes, I will...
It's kind of like implying that the only way you can normally develop warp technology is if you're at peace in a utopian society.
Yeah.
Which... Just isn't true. I mean, the Romulans have it, the Cardassians, the Klingons. They're not all beacons of civilization.
Ferengi.
The Ferengi.
Yeah.
They probably bought it from someone.
Probably. Yeah.
Acquired it somehow. Yeah. Anyway, I kind of liked how they were all dumbfounded that they've got a bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Right. I like sickbay. In Star Trek, I really like some of the sets, and sickbays are one of the ones I really love. The Enterprise sickbay. We've not seen it in our watches so far. But I love. Anyway, I like this one. It's massive. It's humongous. It has like, I don't know, 24 beds in there. Because like you look at like Voyager's medical bay. It has like 4 beds. You know, it's a crew of like 150 odd people.
Yeah.
That's not enough. So I like that this ship appears to have thought about. They have lots of crew. They might all get sick. I really like that. I like the design, and
I agree.
I like when they all come in and Menga's there, and he's they have little quips with the captain, and I like Chapel. She's great, and that little tit for tat she has with Leon about like Leon says something like, "Oh, you make disguises," when in reality she's just like gene therapy.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, well, for being simplistic about it, you just fly a big rocket ship. So, I like, I love it. It's great.
Yeah,
really fun. I like Nurse Chapel in this. I like a bit later on when she has to. Yeah, a bit later on there's an alien. They've got on the ship. He's supposed to be sedated, but he wakes up and runs away.
Yeah.
I love she chases up.
It's great.
Fantastic.
And then her manages to calm him down.
Yeah, but talking about sports. Yeah.
Attacked again. I'm like knocked out. Could they not have been like, now you're reassured? Can we ask you some questions?
Yeah, he was great. Like, we only see him for a few minutes. Like, this guy, he's terrified, he's in headlights, sort of panicked, runs, and he gets in the lift with Horia, and she calms him down by talking about sports. And by the end of the lift, they're just like yapping away.
I know.
He seems really cool. I like that guy.
He would have been calm enough, surely, to do whatever they wanted then. But no, he's probably now got a lifelong fear of spaceships after being attacked for a second time.
I mean, maybe he's going to write a book about it. Like,
maybe,
I was actually kidnapped by aliens. Was I probed?
Yeah.
Let's take us down to the planet under Kylie. So they managed to infiltrate this military base that has this warp bomb in it. And they find number 1 and the other crew, and they're escaping and whatever. But while they're escaping, Pike learns how these people discovered warp. And it was because of all the things that happened in Discovery. They could just see it on their little Hubble telescope type things.
Yeah.
They managed to make some kind of warp bomb thing. And Pike's like, oh no, oh crap, this is actually our fault. This is us, we did this. And he decides to break well, it's not called the Prime Directive at that point. It's called General Order 1. Yeah. What would you do? What would be, Captain Tom, what is your decision? Would you interfere or would you not?
I would probably interfere. And not having the Prime Directive, as it will then be called, probably as strict as it becomes. Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah, I probably want to say I would too, but I'm not as charismatic as like some of these Star Trek captains. But yeah, I did kind of like how the debate was. We can't interfere. We interfered a little bit. Yeah, and even a bit before he beams down, he says we can't interfere. It's not our place. But then he's like, no, we kind of have to. And boy, does he! Yeah. Like once he decides to, oh shit, yeah, no, I'm gonna. He takes these people on a journey, and I'll talk about it a bit more in a minute, but yeah, he holds their hand and really, yeah, that is like Prime Directive breaking to the max. That's not just like, oh, we left the tricorder down there. No, this is proper stuff.
Maybe he caused the Prime Directive to be made.
Well, it looks like there's General Order 1, so I assume it's just, it sounds like it just got renamed.
They probably made a whole lot of new additions after
this. Based on what Pike did,
based on this, right. Yeah. The Pike additions.
Yeah, that's good. I like that, the Pike amendments.
Yeah.
So yeah, they beam like number 1 and everyone else back up to Enterprise. So it's just Pike and Spock on the planet, and they get captured intentionally. And he does a cool "take me to your leader." Yeah, this is fun. I like that. And he's there with the president of Kylie, whatever, and he's saying, "Don't use this bomb. You shouldn't have had it. It's our fault. We're really sorry." And she's like, "Tough shit. We're gonna use it. We've been at war for centuries. We're gonna blow these people up." Suck a dick, basically, is what she says. And then she says the winning side always has the biggest stick or something like that.
I heard that differently, yeah. I heard it as And then I realised she was saying it. But
so not biggest dickus.
It's biggest dickus, pretty much, yeah. The winning side has. And then I realised, she actually said something else.
Yeah.
And
I mean, to be fair, both kind of work.
They do.
But the stick
if
makes
you say it fast enough, it does sound like the first one. But yes, I think it's true. And then he reveals his own biggest
he does.
stick.
He brings out his own big stick.
Yeah.
Which is epic scene. I love that when he basically says our Enterprise, come into low orbit, show yourself basically, and it's great. It's a cool shot having the Enterprise on. It looks really cool.
Yeah,
and that kind of the whole population knows it's no longer a government secret about aliens. It is everyone knows they're aliens, which forces these two faction leaders to have this debate that they haven't. I think they haven't spoken a century, which is insane. Imagine being like I don't know if they're actually at war. There's a Cold War. It feels like a Cold War.
Yeah,
a Cold War with also a civil war as well brewing underneath. But anyway, they start having this debate, and Pike's now back on the ship, and it's not going well. It's not. And Pike's like, oh shit, I'm gonna interfere again. And I think this is the highlight scene of the whole episode.
Yeah,
he beams down right into the middle of the debate. He's like, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Let me monologue for a moment, if you would. And it's a good monologue.
It is.
It really is. He basically says, we were like you, you're like us. If you continue down this path, you've now got the means to blow yourselves up. And he says, and I think you're going to do it. And that's a good line. And he shows them, this is Earth today. It's some utopian, it's amazing, whatever. It's beautiful.
I wonder how he transmitted it to their
He said, before he came down, he said to Uhura, he's like, Uhura, can you punch a message through to...
Yes, he did,
He said a thing. But and then he's like, this is what we're like now, but a few hundred years ago, we was like you. And he showed some still footage. It had some images of Washington and Paris, from the 21st century. And then it shows some footage of riots and civil disturbance. He says that's led to a civil war, then to World War III. And then it shows some nuclear apocalypse, and it naturally shocks these Kylies and gets the point across, and all's well that ends well. They begin the process of conversation.
Yeah.
But when he was showing the footage of Earth in the Civil War bits, the riots, did you recognise any of that footage?
No.
They were showing, there's at least 2, maybe 3 or 4 clips from the January 6th riots.
All right.
In, when Trump lost the election.
Yeah.
Back in 2020? Question mark? I think it was 2020. And they had that big, huge crowd, and they marched on the Capitol, and they broke in and, basically caused a riot, and they were... anyway. And they used footage of that, and there was one with a placard that said, audit the vote, and it had a shot of the... outside the Capitol building, they kind of erected, a noose kind of thing, a gallows.
Oh, that's for Mike Pence?
Pence, who they said was a traitor and all that stuff. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. Now, because Star Trek has always done topical conversations. It will talk about things which are socially relevant and politically relevant. It tackles big issues, but it's never quite so direct. Obviously, in this, what it's saying is January 6th riot led to World War III, led to the end of the world. I don't know how I feel about that. Like sort of putting this quite Star Trek sci-fi mythos and lore, pinning it so directly to quite a hot real-world topic.
Yeah, true.
Please go.
I was going to say, I think if they had specifically said, well, as we can see by this clip here when Trump was encouraging the crowds to riot, and then I'd be like, yeah, I agree. But I think it was shown as part of a montage of other clips.
Yeah, but
people like me didn't even realise it was about the January 6th things.
So I clicked it because it had the audit the vote sign and the gallows. And in the gallows it has the Capitol building in the background. Yeah. So I immediately knew, and I can't have been the only person who knew.
Yeah. It's true. I guess
kind of what I'm saying is normally Star Trek approaches topics kind of indirectly, from the side. It's not quite so normally on the nose. I guess not on the nose. I don't know, using actual real world stuff. I don't know. I don't think I'm explaining it very well.
No, I know what you mean. It's a lot more real.
Yeah.
Because it references that event that's quite recent in our history.
And that's it. Like, I guess that's it. Because also, I don't know when season 1 of Stranger Worlds came out.
2022, was it?
Yeah, so not that long after these Jan 6 riots. And if there was another episode of Star Trek and it was talking about Earth's history, and let's say it was talking about the Western world's involvement in the Middle East.
Yeah.
20 years of Western occupation in various countries and conflicts, starting from like post 9/11 onward. You know, we've had like that was over a long period of time. So if they were using like footage and commentary from let's say 2002, 2003, 2004 in the year 24, 25, I think it's 20 years ago. So it's a bit there's a bit more of a disconnect, a bit more like real world time difference.
Yeah.
As opposed to using these Jan 6 ones, which were just a bit fresh. Do you know what I mean?
It could have been something like 9/11 would have maybe fitted that scene better.
And like if they wanted, you can find clips of riots from that are just generic people running around. You can find them that aren't quite so politically charged. Pointed. I don't know. It's like you ever seen the film? You've seen Dread 2012.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, great film. At the beginning of that, it has like some almost like stock footage clips of like rioting and looting and stuff, and it's in my mind it's very clearly not filmed for the movie. It's just they've taken it from somewhere else. We have no idea what event that is from.
Great film.
Really good film. Love that movie. Make another one. Go make another one. Bring back Carl Urban. He'll still do it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I like the space domes at the end.
Great.
I thought so. Yeah. Because I think you see him early in the episode, and I didn't even think, how the hell did they get space domes up there? I just assumed, well, nothing. It's just like background, and didn't think. But then when Pike was like, you know how they got up to space? And I was like, no. But now I really want to know. I'm really invested how these space domes got in. It's a great little story. Yeah, I thought that was really cool. Yeah, so what was it? It's like, during World War III or just before World War III, some scientists were like, oh no, things are going to shit. Let's, like a Noah's Ark kind of thing, and they sent up these like space dome things with like some trees and animals and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's such a human thing to do. That's such a it's like because we have there's like those like seed vaults in is it in Norway or Iceland or wherever it is. Yeah, but like
I think it is Norway, actually.
Wherever it is, like we'll collect all these seeds just in case.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, like a little arc of seeds. That's end of Dan's notes. Anything else from you?
No, I thought it was a great episode. Right from when they first opened with First Contact is always a dream until it happens, and I thought that was sort of set the theme for the episode. And I thought, oh, fair play. That is true because people dream about it now, don't they? That it might happen and there might be things out there. That's
a really good point. Yeah, that is a really good line.
This rocket got sent up the other day, didn't it? It's going to arrive in 5 years' time, I think.
Oh yeah,
on one of the moons of Saturn, I believe. Could be wrong.
Yeah, I recently read a book about like solar system. Quite a lot of information about Mars and all then like some of the other planets, like particularly. I think it was Mercury and Uranus was the one that really like surprised me. Obviously,
yeah, it's quite big, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite big. Yeah. Any other Uranus jokes over here? Anything else?
No, I'm one out.
Yeah. But like the book was like we know basically nothing.
Yeah,
there's been a few satellites have done like a few like flybys and like as they've been like en route to other places, but there's not really been any like dedicated missions to go and study Uranus.
It's got really strong winds, doesn't it?
Really strong winds, yeah.
I think it really has.
Yeah.
Like one of the strongest. I think Jupiter is actually this. Anyway, I digress.
You can't talk about it without anyway. But I thought that was insane. I was like, oh my god, why hasn't there been any like further exploration of like some of these planets that we've got?
Yeah, definitely.
I can't remember how we got into that actually. The new space program going to possibly Titan. Yeah, but isn't that Jupiter?
I think it's Jupiter, yes.
Oh, God. Our friend Madeline, who is a bit of a space nerd, will be like, she'll be like, for fuck's sake, guys.
Yeah.
Sorry, Madeline. Okay. Sure. Should we wrap us up then? Let's do some final thoughts and an IMDb rating. Take us away.
So, as I just mentioned, that first contact line, I loved it straight from the start of the episode. I thought the acting was all fantastic. I love the sort of colour palette of the episode, how everything's bright and bold and new. I think Pike's a fantastic captain. And this episode, having that sort of the weaknesses that he's got, not this like perfect, I can do everything. He's got some flaws now. I think makes him stand out even more. And on the whole, loved it. Great episode. Really strong start to a series. I'm going to give it a solid 8.
Solid 8. Nice score. Good score. You say obviously you really liked it. It's obviously the first episode.
Yes.
So would you go in like go and binge the rest of it? Watch the rest?
I would binge. Yeah. Yes. In fact, I was thinking of watching like just all episodes of season 1 in maybe one day, and then season 2 the next day. I think it's 6. Actually, how many episodes in a series?
I want to say 10.
Might be quite more.
Oh,
yeah,
you could do that in a day.
But I could binge. Yeah,
you could spend a whole day in bed.
Yeah. Whereas I could not binge Discovery. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of like with you. Yeah.
I could binge TNG. I could binge Voyager, but no, this one seems binge worthy.
Yeah, my thoughts. Also loved it. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I really liked it. Kind of like what you said, really. Great characters, great acting, really good story. I like how we were discussing there about that tonal, how like the colour palette. It's bright and optimistic, and it's. I don't want to say it's more Star Trekky because that kind of implies that the other Star Trek isn't Star Trekky, but it feels Star Trekky. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
I love Pike's development. How especially because we'd seen him very recently, and how amazing he was in Discovery, and he was just acing on that mission to that Section 31 base, and now he's like kind of like a broken man. I love that. Was great.
Yeah,
that was a really good contrast. I kind of actually enjoyed it more having not seen the bit where he went down to that Vulcan planet and had his crisis of faith.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked it. What am I going to give it? I think 8's good. I think, yeah. Let's go 8, 'cause it was really good. It was, it sort of leaves you wanting more.
Yeah,
I want to watch more. Team 8, wicked. Let's find out what it actually got. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Episode 1, Season 1, called Strange New Worlds, gets a 8.3.
Okay.
Good. Yeah. Well deserved, I think. Yeah.
No, I concur.
No further comments.
No.
Yeah.
Good, strong episode.
We need to choose an episode, and then choose some crew, and then we can go to bed.
Yeah.
Right, let's choose an episode. This will be episode 10, final episode of our season 2, Warp Factor Unknown. Excellent. I spoke to Madeline recently, and we just ended up waffling about Star Trek a little bit, and I was like, we should have you back on the podcast. She's like, I'd love to be. So there's a chance she might join us episode 10.
Okay.
No promises. We'll see if schedules can align.
Yeah, definitely.
She's in Australia, which is really far away, which makes it really hard to do. But we'll try and figure it out. What that means is me and you have to get up really early, which sucks. So we might have Madeline for episode 10. We'll see. Right, let's use it as a show. We will watch 2-parters. We won't watch whole story arcs, like a whole season of Discovery, if we get the same episode, which is very unlikely, but it could happen. We'll go up or down. We can't watch a show we've just watched, so we can't watch Strange New Worlds again next time, and we can't watch the same show twice, which I believe means for this season, Warp Factor Unknown, we can't watch Enterprise or the original series. We've had those twice already. So, and we've also, with the very short Treks being out the running now, we're down to 10 options.
I have 9.
Have you put back in, what did we watch last time? Discovery. Project Daedalus, so Discovery.
Yes. So Discovery is back in.
Back in, which, we've only watched Discovery once, so that could come back in, So it should be 10.
So we have 10. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm now going to randomly roll. So number 1 to 10. Okay, are you ready?
I am ready.
Grand roll. A 4.
A 4.
So a 4 gives us a movie.
A movie.
A movie.
Holy shit,
yes.
sir. Wicked.
Well,
that's gonna be a lot of work.
yeah.
Great.
Our first movie.
We actually, we kind of wanted to do a movie, which is why we added them in. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad we got one.
By my recollection, there's 13 movies.
Normally we do we'll set a series.
Yeah.
So I think we should do let's select a era of movies.
Okay.
Because we have the original movies,
Yeah.
the TNG movies, and then the new Trek movies.
Yes, we do.
So I think we do 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And then from there, break it down further.
Right.
So what era of movie would you like to watch?
Probably hoping for one of the originals. Would be good.
Choice. Yeah.
Although I would not mind any of the ones.
I would I'm happy original ones. I'll tell you what movie I actually want to watch. I want to watch the 2009 movie.
Okay.
I really want to give that a rewatch. I'd be happy to watch them.
Mm.
But I wouldn't be too fussed about watching a TNG movie.
No?
They're good.
Yeah, okay.
I like them, especially the first two. But yeah, original ones. Give me original one.
Right, so we have
2009.
1 and 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Go. 3.
Mr.
Which
Abrams.
actually is Mr. Abrams. So I believe there are 3.
There are 3. So there's 2009, Into Darkness, and then Beyond. Is it just Beyond or Beyond Darkness?
I think it's Beyond Darkness.
Beyond Darkness.
So,
They go in the dark, and then they come out of the dark.
are you ready?
I am ready. 3.
3.
Beyond Darkness.
Beyond Darkness.
Which is the one with Idris Elba.
I think so.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
I've not seen that movie since it first came out. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be good to give it a rewatch.
Yeah.
It's the one where a ship had crashed on a planet and then it became aliens or something. Have you seen it?
When it first came out, but I think I've seen the first J.J. Abrams film quite a few times.
Yeah, me too.
Second one a couple of times, and the third one, I think I've definitely seen it once, but I can't remember much about it.
Well, fantastic. We've got a movie.
Good.
Wicked. What crew would you like to discuss today?
Who do we have left?
We've done engineers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We haven't done science officer yet, have we?
No.
Let's do science officer.
Okay.
Fine, let's go there. So, I have Spock 3 ways. I've got original Spock, Strange New World Spock, and then the Kelvin movie Spock, so the newer Spock, or the Abrams Spocks. Got Dax from DS9, Pol, 7 of 9, Rutherford, though I think he might be more engineering than science.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too sure, but I put him in there anyway. Arium, remember the robot lady from Discovery who died?
Yes.
Yeah. Her. Tilly from Discovery, Adira Tal from Discovery, and Roktok from Prodigy. Now, you wouldn't have seen that because when we watched the first 2 episodes of the Prodigy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that she's still got childlike, but she was a whole thing.
Mm.
And she becomes the science officer. It's really cool. It's really cool. So yeah, Roktok as well. Anyone else? Have I missed anyone?
That's all I can think of. So, I have 2 strong candidates. Original Spock.
Ooh, yeah.
And Dax.
Dax, yeah.
Both of them have a wealth of experience. In fact, Dax has lifetimes of experience.
6 or 7, I think.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna go with Dax.
Yeah, it's a good. She's just a good character. She's just great. I love that. I love Dax. And how she interacts with the Klingons and the Ferengi, and how open she is to other alien cultures.
Yeah,
love that. And I love that, that ongoing banter she has with Kira. She keeps trying to set Kira up with is it Captain Baudet?
Yeah.
The guy who's got a transparent skull. You never see him. And she's you can see his brains. Yeah. So? Love it. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dax, good choice. I probably would also lean towards Dax, but I'm not going to. Because when we did Counselor, I chose Dax, Esri Dax, who was a counselor.
Yes.
So I kind of already have a Jadzia, kind of. So I'm not gonna double up on my Daxes. Who would I like Spock. I do like Spock, but I don't know. Maybe 7.
Yeah.
Possibly 7. Yeah, I feel like some of the Discovery characters, like Arium, know her more. May have been a good candidate, but yeah, okay. I'm gonna say 7.
Yeah.
obvious reasons. She's an amazing character, really good development, and she builds. I don't know quite single-handedly, but she builds that the astrometrics lab in Voyager. I love that set. That's really cool. Yeah, Seven's great. Excellent scientist.
Cool.
I am also going to have an honourable mention though to Rock Top. I really like what they did with her character. It was almost a bit of like a sad, kind of tragic kind of story. You don't go out of sports. I'll tell you anyway. She basically they get caught in like a time loop. It's a time episode, and it's the same. So all the crew get split up, different time loops. Timey-wimey. They get split up.
Yeah.
They're separate in like mirror universes, but some of them are going really fast. So like the ship's going to blow up, and they like Dahl has like 30 seconds because his time is going really fast.
Yeah.
Jake and Pog has like an hour, and Rock Talk is going really slow. She has 1,000 years. She has so much time. It's moving so slowly.
Yeah.
And everyone else dies because their time went too fast. So she's got to fix the problem on her own. So she has to single-handedly, with no one else around. I think Janeway. She gets upset and lashes out, and I think she actually deletes Janeway, the hologram Janeway, I think. And yeah, so she's there for however long that is. I don't know how long. I don't think it's quite said how long she was alone for. Yeah. But she single-handedly learns all the science, everything, and she matures over the course of this one episode, and it's great. And then from then on, she's a scientist. So yeah, I think. Yeah, Rock Talk Scientist is really good. Cool. But I'm going to go with 7.
Yeah.
Just because 7. Yeah, cool. Right, that's our crew. Let us wrap it up. Thank you for listening to Warp Factor Unknown. I've been your host, Dan, and I've been joined by my co-host, Tom.
Thank you for listening, guys.
Today we talked about the Star Trek episode straight from Strange New Worlds. Join us next time as we take another deep dive into the Star Trek universe and we discuss the Star Trek movie Beyond Darkness. Until then, thank you for your continued support. If you would like to contact us, please email us at warpfactorunknown@outlook.com. Again, it's warpfactorunknown@outlook.com, and please don't forget to share us around. You've got any friends who like podcasts and like Star Trek, let them know. Give us a thumbs up and all the rest of it. And the music we use for our intro and outro is called Starfleet Command. That's by Jeff Harvey.